We're continuing in Perek Gimel, close to the end. V'nei, kan ba'olam ha'kudim, haya zav nuk gedolim ala berima. Here in Olam ha'kudim, Zav Nuk were greater than Abba and Ima. Ki Zav Nuk hayu panim upanim, v'Abba v'Ima hayu achad ba'achad. Because Zav Nuk were face to face, and Abba and Ima were still only back to back. V'yinu, ki nezun hashlimu kol tzorcheim l'tzorch lahem. The idea is like this: that Zampin and Nukva already completed everything that they need to complete in this world of Akudim. They got all the ors that they were supposed to get. Shu chamisha ors pnimim u'shnei ors makifim, which is 5 ors pnimim and 2 ors makifim. And we said before that's the limit that could possibly be reached in Olam HaKudim. Kodem sheyachzu l'yisalus b'matzilim, before the ors went back into the peh. Masha'inken ba'Abba v'Ima. However, this is different by Abba v'Ima, because Abba v'Ima didn't reach their highest madriga. They didn't reach the highest madriga they could have reached in Olam HaKudim, which was 5 pnimim, nefesh neshama chayim echida, and 2 makifim, keneged the chayim echida. Ki adayin lo hayu shleimim, she'arei la'Abba lo haya rak gimel pnimim levad, u'bli shum makif, u'le'ima lo haya rak hei ors pnimim levad. Because for Abba there was only 3, he only had 3 pnimim without any makifim. That's according to the Seder Hadvar, how the ors came out and got more ors. They only got 3 when it got to Keser. Ima, or there's a different girsa in the Eitz Chaim, it says only 4. Umidale pnimim levad, bli shum makif. So the girsa depends on when you count how many bina has. When bina comes out of the peh, it has nefesh. When it goes in, that's in the place of keser. When it goes into the place of chachma, it gets ruach. When it goes into the place of bina, it gets neshama. And then afterwards, when keser goes up, so bina gets chaya. And now it has 4 pnimim: nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya. So now when Abba is going to go, so that's why the girsa. This is why the girsa was the girsa in Eitz Chaim says 4, which unfortunately here in my sefer say that this is a more correct girsa. And the reason why it's more correct is because here we're talking about a yichud of Abba and Ima. We're talking about Abba and Ima coming together. And obviously, when Ima has 5, which is when Ima is in Keser, Abba already went into the peh. So it's not shaykh to talk about a yichud of Abba and Ima at that point. So since we're talking about a yichud of Abba and Ima, it must be that the girsa of 4, that Ima only had 4 ors pnimim, Shum had nefesh, ruach, neshama, and nefesh, ruach, neshama, and chaya, and not 5. Even though she did get 5 before she went back into the peh, because when she was in the place of keser, she had 5 pnimim, not just 4. Bli shum makif, but she didn't have any makifim. And furthermore, even before any of the spirits went back into the matzah, into the peh, Zun already had what they needed in order to have a zibur. So Zun already received enough ors pnimim, which we're going to see is up to the level of chachma, up to the level of chaya. And as long as they have both chaya, they could have a zibur. Now, the idea is like this, which we already know, that the zivug comes from chachma and down. That's where the zivug starts at chachma and comes down. If you don't have chachma, then you can't. It's not possible to have a zivug. The kfar el hazah b'chinas chachma shu chaya pnimis. And Zah already had chachma, which is a chaya pnimis. Kodem shetala keser b'matzah. Even before the keser goes back into the matzah, shu rishon shechazer kodem kulam, which is the first that went back into the peh before all of them. Meaning, even before the first one of the ors peh went back into the peh, which is keser, so Zampin already got chaya pnimis, which is enough for zivug. So here we're going to ask, we're going to ask, why is it that if they had enough Oros for Zivug, why did they need to go back into the peh? And even though the Malchus was at every stage greater than Zerpin, because as we said, since Malchus came out first, he got Nefesh. When Zerpin came out, Malchus got Ruach, and Zerpin got Nefesh. So at every stage of the process, Zerpin is always going to be lower than Malchus, and you might think that this would be a problem, this imbalance between the two. Usually the Zohar should be higher, it would seem, and the fact that here the Zerpin was lower, you might think it would be a problem and it might stop the Zivug from happening. But the Rav here is saying that wasn't a problem, even though Shaisala Chayat Pnimis, even though the Malchus already had Chayat Pnimis before the Kesser went back into the Peh, it already had, Yechida Pnimis. It already had the fifth level, which is Yechida Pnimis. And the aim is a Hashash, this isn't a problem. Still, they were able to have a Zivug, even though Malchus was, at this point, much greater, or one level greater than Zerpin. Masha'inkin ba'Abba. However, this is different by Abba, because Abba never got Chaya. Afilu achar she'ola Keser amatza. Even after Keser went into the Peh, and Chachma got to its highest stage, he could possibly get, at least at this point. Still, he didn't have Chaya, and therefore it wasn't possible to have a Zivug. Vim Toma in Cain, Lama Allah Zun Matilim. And here's a very interesting question. The Rav is saying that since they were able to have Zivug, then it would seem that we should have asked the question. We should say, why did they need to go back into the Peh? I mean, it's very interesting to point out that the Rav is saying here that if they were able to have a Zivug, it would logically be that they shouldn't need to go back into the Peh. It's just an interesting point to think about. Since they were already perfected in what they needed for a Zivug. And the answer for this question, why did they still have to go back into the Peh, even if they had everything that was necessary for the Zivug? All of the chiyus of Zerpin and Nukva is only from Abba and Ima. The kivan shenistalku Abba v'Ima lamala ein zum b'neim rotzim l'par b'hem. And since Abba and Ima went up into the Peh, Zerpin and Nukva, their children, so to speak, did not want to leave them, so it followed them. So here we're saying that Zerpin and Nukva always receive and get shefa from, they get chiyus from Abba and Ima. It's kind of like children and parents, like the Rav is comparing it here to that. That Zerpin and Nukva are the children of Abba and Ima, and they always want to be attached and close to their parents. And they have a desire to attach and to connect to them, and they go after them into the Peh in order to receive from them. So even though they had very high madrigas and they got very close to they got whatever they needed for themselves, they still weren't satisfied with that. They wanted to be close to Abba and Ima. They wanted to be close to their source. And therefore, when Abba and Ima went back into the Peh, so Zerpin and Nukva followed. And also for a different reason, as we mentioned above, because the main chazara, the main reason why the Urs went out of the Peh and back into the Peh, why did they go back in? Was in order to make a bechina of kelim. We spoke about this before, that in Oros HaPeh, the kelim were created. And the way the kelim were created was in the way that the Oros came out and went back in and left an imprint of their or outside. That imprint became kelim, as we're going to see, I think, in Perek Hay, the next Perek, the Perek afterwards. And this process was part of the process of what Hashem wanted to do. Hashem wanted to minimize the awe in order for the Makabim to be able to receive it. So one of the things that he did was he made kelim, and these kelim were created in this process of going out and coming back in. So since they needed to go back in, also they had another reason why they needed to go back in. They needed to go back in order to make kelim, not just to follow Abanima. And therefore they also went in for this reason.